Welcome to the fourth test. Wow, this is a real marathon. Sorry about that. It's not because I'm a sadist. On the contrary, I hope you're enjoying this even more than I am. Let's see what I have in store for you now. I'm going to help you a little with more hints. This is some information about folk tales and boxes and souls. In German and European folk tales, a malicious figure often called a cannibal without a soul, or the soulless, cannot die because he keeps his vital soul hidden far away inside a box. In the traditional story, the box containing the soul rests on a rock in the middle of a distant sea. A clever hero or soldier manages to find and retrieve the box. When the hero opens the box and throws the soul backward into the air, the villain instantly drops dead. The villain, the cannibal. Of course, it's just a folk tale. And to find the reality behind this, we have to not reverse engineer, but maybe inverse engineer the reality, the secret world that I've been trying to expose by inverse engineering the reality from the evidence, the corrupted evidence, and the architectural evidence that required and invited an unexpected interpretation. All right. Similar variations in world folklore. In Russian folklore, an evil arch-villain, Korskai, maybe hides his death, his soul. How did death get equated with soul? Well, if you can hide it, hide your death. You live forever? Well, he doesn't hide it in a simple box, but in a bunch of objects. And the last of those is an iron chest box buried under an oak under, on a magical ocean island. Celtic influence folklore has entities that trap human souls in containers or cages kept hidden. How curious. German, Russian, Celtic. You don't think the same people were writing these folk tales? They're not folk tales, they're elite tales. Your ancestors, my ancestors, did not write this these tales, tall tales. Well, maybe some more help with this fourth most difficult of all tests. So I advise my students, I hope that's not an offensive word, to remember that these sarcophagi were not for the elites. They were not to be in them. They are for the lower classes, the lower, as in subterranean class. Now, if you were raised underground in very primitive tunnels, mostly, and chambers, and you were invited up into cathedrals, churches with these beautiful, I guess they would seem beautiful, impressive, amazing, mind-boggling sarcophagi. Imagine the awe you would experience and seeing the wealth above the wealth, the leisure, the size of those cathedrals, basilicas, temples, let's not forget synagogues and mosques, perhaps. Yeah, some mosques are more than just open spaces. They have rooms, halls upon halls, like the Great Mosque in Mecca. Really palatial place. Palatial, like the devil's party house. Anyway, here we have the lid of a sarcophagus with a couple cast upon it. Cast, I think. Yes, is the right word. Don't think this is sculpted, but doesn't matter. Um, this couple is supposed to personify water and earth. She is supposed to personify earth, although her tunic is flowing like water. Those folds over her abdomen, shoulder, very nice. And he's supposed to personify water. I don't know how that works. He's holding supposedly a reed in his left hand, very large left hand. Um, well, reeds do grow near water. I'll grant that. She's holding a sheaf, two sheaves of wheat and a garland to represent abundance, the abundance of the earth. Well, I'm not into eating garlands or wheat, so it doesn't quite work for me. On the left, at her feet, is some sort of mammal, its tail up. It's what is some like a rat squirrel. No offense to squirrel waffen, but I don't know what that is. It could, yeah, maybe it's a squirrel. It was ridden by a personification of Eros. Looks like a naked child missing the top half of its body. And on the right, near the man's elbow, is a lizard of some sort. Maybe these are the animals that kept the prisoner slaves underground company. Maybe. In any case, she looks like maybe she's upper class goddess, and he, well, I suppose upper class also. She's Why is her face, her whole head is not finished? I played with the idea that it was finished and then defaced. Mm, then her original face would have been quite large. Who knows? But she would have been gazing at him with love, I suppose. They are both re reclining, enjoying life, leisure, which you don't have if you live as the slave prisoner class underground. So very desirable image, especially for men who would like a woman to gaze longingly at them. Another note to make, I suppose, is that all these, or none of these sarcophagi are actually big enough, I think, to hold a man or woman who's over 5 foot tall, over 1 meter, let's say 55. This is a curious sarcophagus, not nearly as deep as the ones I'm familiar with. It's Etruscan. It looks like it's been cut through the middle, or yeah, that's not a crack or a break, that's a cut. Another important note, observation is that excuse me, these sarcophagi never contain bodies or the remains of bodies. They seem all to be very clean, except for those in Egypt, which we are told once held mummies. Mummies, yeah. Mum's the word. They don't speak. They don't tell us. Egypt, very fake place. Mummies are, I think they were just made to mock us. Let's look at the next one. This is medieval, they say, on a base made of three lions. Maybe there's one in the back. No, I doubt it. At least, anyway, lions and stone pillows. How nice. Reminiscent of Jacob's dream in the Bible as he lay in the desert with his head on a stone pillow and dreamed of heaven. Maybe there's another clue there. Uh, the body of this sarcophagus is illustrating cathedral interior, all these pointy arches. This is in a Hippogeum in Perugia, Italy. A whole pile of sarcophagi. Just, yeah, they ran out of room apparently and had to stack them on top of each other. You know, anyone who thinks that this is the way the sarcophagi were meant to be presented, if you really, I mean, you had the money, the time, and the resources to sculpt, cast these works of art, and yet had to pile them together in a featureless chamber underground. Ridiculous. The ones in the back you can't even access. Well, what is it all about? This one also mystifies me a little bit. The lid with an entire sculpture of a seated man. Life of leisure. It's all life of leisure, aren't they? They're all reclining or seated. Was that meant to make the sarcophagi attractive? Was there some kind of sales pitch happening here? And lastly, we have sarcophagi in the Hippogeum of Yarhai, Damascus, Syria. Again, they seem to have been moved into a place they don't belong. I've never seen any other sarcophagi with more than two people sculpted on top. It's a whole family here. And correct me if I'm wrong, these faces don't look very Syrian. They look rather European, Western, well, some part of Europe. Someone's lost their head. I think there were two men, two women, and maybe a child. We have two men in the center, woman on, I think a woman on either side. They're dressed very well. They've got their, was that a goblet or a dish? Dressed very nicely. I'm a bit jealous of these robes. What a life. And I hope I'm not forgetting to share any clues. Hmm. And I think that wraps it up for the fourth test. What, the question I remind you is, what purpose did these sculptures, these engravings on these sarcophagi serve? What was their purpose?